everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. So excited to be with you on a Saturday talking our favorite topic, real estate in East Tennessee. Glad to be back on the show and had a little break last week and hope you've enjoyed our show. And we've got an amazing show for you today. We're talking about the Knoxville housing market. Has it finally shifted in favor of buyers? I know a lot of you are watching the news and watching what's going on in East Tennessee and across the U.S. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, watching the rates, watching the interest rates, what the Fed's doing, all the little things that are going on are affecting our economy. So we're talking about, has our market shifted? You know, real estate's so specific that that's why we're real big advocates of getting a strong agent, getting a great agent to kind of help you as that experience to navigate your local market, because real estate is so specific. You know, just got back from New York City, New Jersey, and that market is totally different than the Knoxville housing market. And so, you know, you need an expert in Jersey when you're in Jersey, and you need an expert here in East Tennessee. And we're always glad to help you in that journey. So a lot going on. Talking about Knoxville housing market. Is it shifting in favor of buyers? We'll talk about that. We also got some numbers that you're going to know in the second half. What's an important number you're going to know? Stay tuned, second half. Good show. We've got some added resources for you that can help you if you need to know that number. And, of course, as always, it's a couple weeks to football time in East Tennessee. It's officially 2 weeks out. So you know what time it is. Around the corner. It's here. There's no more wait. We'll talk about this first part of the show. Make sure you like, follow, share all of our social channels. We're giving away 2 tickets, 2 groups, parking pass to 1 lucky group, autograph. We just got done shooting a commercial with Deshaun Bishop. A lot of time at the university yesterday. Thanks to all the amazing staff. Thanks to the athletic department for opening that up for us and getting all that done. It was just an amazing time over there. It was quick, but it came out really well. So that should be out in hopefully next week or so. If you see that, let us know your thoughts. And excited to root these guys on. It's going to be an amazing season, and we're ready for football back in East Tennessee. Football always leads into real estate. Why? Because we're in the pretty much the second or last half of the year. Okay, fall, closing out summer. Some states are going back to school after the holiday. We're already back. That's a whole nother avenue. Kiddos going back, growing too fast. But before we get too much into the show, let's talk about our congrats. New listings, a lot going on, and then we'll dive into our show. Hope everybody's having a great weekend, and thank you for staying tuned and tuning in to us. Really appreciate it. Hard to communicate back and forth on the radio. Really is, but I see a lot of you guys. I talk to you a lot of guys, customers, clients, and I really appreciate you listening for years, going on probably 9-10 years on the radio. Great partners. Shout out Talk Radio 98.7. Talk Radio 92.3, FM, AM 760, and of course our good friends at News Talk 98.7. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's get back at it. Got some new listings here. As always, congrats. Let's start with our pendings. 310 Hollyfield Drive in Jacksboro under contract. Super excited for them. 1941 Anderson Way in Sevierville under contract. Congrats to our great seller on that one. Running Deer Trail, Caryville under contract. And our great sellers. 4 times over. We won't go into it. 4 offers it took to get there, but we finished at 3201 Roanoke Circle in Knoxville. Great seller, our purchaser. Relocated engineer coming down here, and excited for him on his new purchase on 706 Fair Garden Circle in Sevierville. And we got some new listings, 2840 Loveday Place in Kodak, and then new properties, large land in Reinhardt Road in Dandridge. Also has some large tracts of land. If you're looking for something in Knoxville, you know, we've got almost 30 acres that's coming on the market just in the matter of next week. So keep that on the market if you're thinking about unrestricted land, has some houses on it. It might be something that might be of interest to you. Okay, that's our news update. Congrats. A lot of things going on in the news. Fed's looking at the rates staying where they're at. Talking about the housing market. Buyers are asking whether we should buy now or wait. Sellers are asking, why are homes setting longer? I mean, that's the topic. That's where we're at. It's not a hidden secret. NAR reported yesterday that the July 2026 pending home sales fell 2.3% versus June 2.2%. Pending home sales have declined month over month across all 4 major U.S. regions. The Census Bureau reported single-family housing starts fell 9.9% in July to an annualized rate of 808,000, and total housing new starts, new constructions, fell 12.4% from June. So a lot of conversations, why are builders reducing construction price? How will that change any construction inventory and supply? And will that put new pressure on housing prices that are new construction? So those are some things to think about. Set the tone as far as the market here. Setting the tone is not doom and gloom. It's not. Our market is totally different than most places. But we are seeing a shift. I had a conversation yesterday with a great client, sweet couple, originally from New Jersey, believe it or not. New Jersey, bought in California, lived there for a while, relocated out here to the Sweetwater market, and they're selling. They're going back to North Carolina, believe it or not. Got family that's going to be there. So excited about that move. But just talking about the market. And one of those questions were, Ryan, and what you guys probably say, hey, how's the market? I've talked to 3 agents. I'm getting a little bit of a feel of different from everybody. And I say, well, our market is a lot different than when I got back from other markets. And I say our market is steadily pretty consistent. We go back to 2008, and you can go back several years back, but when the housing market was facing some challenges, our Knoxville housing market was within 8 to 9% variance of where it was previous couple 24 months. So, our values stay consistent. There are some changes, and we've had a lot of growth since COVID. We put out an article the other day on ryancoleman.org talking about, though, it's catching up. We have a lot of growth. You know what happens with that? County assessments. We did a recent show talking about that. That state of Tennessee has one of the highest increases of taxes. Preferably because we've been low for so long and we had so much growing in. It's just one of those things. They're not raising them right now, but we all know what's going to happen to some degree. We're seeing the assessment. We're seeing the foundation set, right? We're seeing the plan for some of these changes. And I think that's a given. Got to support all the people and things that are coming in. And so real estate is one of the largest tax suppliers of the government in the area. So it's going to happen. Values have rose, right? We've seen that rise. You got to watch the headlines. I had a great builder friend, but he gets on the highs and the lows of the market and sends me an article yesterday and says, the market's the worst we've seen since 2011. So that's that's not what I need to see on my Thursday. 2, it's not that bad. So watch the doom and gloom. Depends on whether we're in a high season. If it's a high season, we're talking about how great the rates are. Nobody's got inventory. Homes are going off the shelf. And when it's negative, it's almost that we kind of knew it. After school, when the kids go back to school, what are we going to be talking about? It's doom and gloom, the real estate market, this and that. It's really not the case. But I want to talk about the Knoxville housing market and how it's important. We've got about 4 months supply of inventory. So when I was talking to my great client, or potential client that we talked last night, I said, understand that supply has a lot to do with several years ago. And so our supply on a perfect market inventory would be 6 months of inventory. That's a normal balanced market. And we have about 4 months supply of inventory. And I thought that was really important. So as long as our inventory supply is somewhat balanced or below average, we're still going to have a great market. When that inventory starts climbing, then it starts to become a challenging market. So right now, it's kind of one of those things where another builder friend I have, he said, Ryan, it's kind of one of those markets where I just don't know. I don't know what to do if I'm selling. I don't know what to do if I'm buying. That's because a lot of things are going on in the housing market. And so the Knoxville housing market has reached 57 days. That is actually down. It was about 66 to 70 days in February. So that numbers are actually declining, which is good. So less days on the market, so less than 2 months. Now, that's not an abnormal market, right? We'd say, hey, 2 months, that's a long time. Well, we're spoiled rotten. We're used to having to go in a couple of days. So, that's a normal market, getting back to more realistic timing. Longer marketing time, setting on the market, really has that conversation with your agent to really understand that pricing strategy matters more now than ever. Buyers are going to have more selection. So buyers, if you're thinking about buying, yes, the rates aren't exactly maybe where you want to be, but there's a lot more options now than we've seen in the past. So we got a break coming on. We got a lot more on this show. Stay with us. Second half, Real Estate with Ryan, coming right back.
Knoxville and East Tennessee. The region is known for its rolling hills, rivers, and lakes. There's no better place to work, live, or raise a family. Home is where your story begins. Buying or selling your home is a big decision, and you need a real estate team you can trust.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, your hometown experts. Whether you're buying or selling a home, let us develop a winning game plan for you.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty. The real estate market's changing every day. You need to know your home's value in today's market. Text your home address to 290-2290 for an instant, no obligation home evaluation. That's 865-290-2290. And remember, when you're ready to sell, we have a guaranteed sale program to get you in your next home stress-free. Trust your hometown experts. We've helped thousands of people just like you. Welcome back, Real Estate with Ryan, second half. Thank you for staying tuned. We're talking about the real estate market in East Tennessee. We're talking about Knoxville housing market. Has the market actually shifted towards the buyers? Maybe. Stay tuned on the second half, Real Estate with Ryan. We're talking about that. Got a lot of news for you, a lot of topics, and a lot of things going on in the housing market. What do we see in East Tennessee? Is it a buyer's market? We'll talk about that in just a few, but before we get going, it's football time. It's 2 weeks out. It's East Tennessee. It's officially here. So let's get our drum roll, please. All right, we've got our drum roll going. Let's see what we've got in the news here today. A lot going on the housing front, but we're talking about a little football, East Tennessee. Just got done doing a shoot over at UT, so excited. Thanks for the athletic department, everybody in the group, team, staff, everybody that put the effort on to make that seamless and just a great commercial, spending a lot of time. Got a lot of signings, autographs, a lot of swag and stuff there from Deshaun Bishop. So make sure you like, share, and follow our channel. We're giving away two sets of tickets, parking pass, and a lot of autograph stuff from Deshaun Bishop this year. All you got to do is like, share, and follow. It starts now. You'll see our ads out, but you must follow the directions, okay? Make sure you do that. All right, you know it. First game, hope to see you guys there. Tennessee versus Furman Padlins. I'm not even pronouncing that right, but it should be a good opener. Should be a lot of reps. Should be a good opportunity Saturday in Neyland on the 5th at 3:30, day game. So it should be a good opportunity to watch our new Vols, see what we're doing. A lot of new faces, a lot of returning faces, a lot of opportunities, see how Deshaun does. A lot of freshmen out there and the whole coaching staff. So look at our group, root them on. Look forward to seeing you guys out there. Make sure you watch our commercial things we have out there in social. Give us some love. And it's football time in East Tennessee, so excited to get back there, and I know you guys are as well. That's all we got on the 60-second Vol update. Hometown Realty, proud sponsor of the Vols. Go Big Orange. All right, so we've got a lot going on. It's always, most people think in the holidays or the fall season, everything starts slowing down. And I'm telling you, I don't know if it's because of everything we do with football, basketball, marketing, we've got properties and vacation rentals, and it starts heating up in the Smokies. We've got a lot in Knoxville. We've got upscale property. So we've got a lot of things going on, and we've got land. We've got a lot of land listings that we're taking that, I just talked to a young lady that she was, it was inherited to her. And, so she's selling that property. And so there's a lot of things that are going on in the market now, and it makes really for the last part of the year a busy year. It's always one of our opportunities. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, don't just say no. Hey, I'm going to wait till next summer and spring. This is a great opportunity. And we're talking about on the show, is it a buyer's market, seller's market? It is shifting some buyer's opportunity, and I think we're seeing that more than we've seen in a while. But also as sellers understanding now more than ever, pricing strategy matters. So positioning your home where we need to be is very, very important. We're seeing it routinely that the first 2 or 3 weeks on the housing market, that your home hits the market, visibility is high. And you want to make sure you're in the right position to bring in the most amount of buyers. Now, that being said, what we don't want to do is watch what happened a couple years ago. It's a challenge because we've been blessed in the Knoxville housing market to be up last couple years, setting records. That being said, we can't look 2 years ago for pricing. We're in 2026. We're going into the fall almost of 2026. So know where the market's at. Don't chase the market. It's one of the biggest things we want to talk about. Conversations, an idea of where we used to start here, then we make adjustments, and then that old saying, you can always go down. You definitely can. And I'm a big person of that, making sure you want to have some cushion, as we would say, or wiggle room, right, in your price. But you don't want to price it to where we're not getting opportunities. And today's pricing is a lot more different than a couple years ago. So get with a great agent. Obviously work with us if we can help you. But set that marketing strategy, set realistic expectations. Don't chase the market down. Understand that the market is a little less forgiving today. We just had a deal that fell out of contract, had 2 offers, and it is the nature of the market. Buyers are fearful. Buyers been looking for a long time that we had. The items were really not much on the list on the inspection. Didn't even see it really, truthfully. But what we were telling us verbally was really nothing that couldn't be taken care of. But you'll find now sellers and buyers, there's enough news to be a little bit fearful. And so we have to be very diligent about working through our inspections and working on one right now when I get off the phone call. Understanding that the items on an inspection list, ideally, they're not wanting to rebuild the property. But it does feel like that, doesn't it? I want to feel like they rebuild the property. I've got this price, Ryan. We're making a strategy, and here they come in here. They want this. And so there is pressure. You need a great agent. You need to set together, get the emotions aside, focus on exactly what they're asking for, come back with the solution that makes sense. We're pretty strong on what we do here. We've got a team that's dedicated. That we have these inspections. They come through. If we need to go through and send one of our contractors or repair guys that we have on staff, we'll do that to take care of the inspection list. Because sometimes, that leaky faucet or, putting, sometimes it comes up that there's a PVC pipe next to the hot water tank. They come up on all the inspections. Or these, the gutters need to be cleaned out. These are minor things, but they come in. And sometimes it's not about the items itself or the cost. It's the buyers on the fence. They're nervous. Maybe there's more inventory now that they're seeing come on the market. There's opportunities. And so you don't want to lose that opportunity for that buyer. Strike quickly, work diligently through your list and our office as well, and don't let emotions come into play. Sometimes if there's items, do a little concession. Work with your agent. Work with us to help you that if there is a concession, because we're better off on the market selling, working that out than going back to the market and not unsure where the market's at, if you can do that. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you can't work it out. It just happens. Last year we had 37 deals that fell through. I've never seen more deals in our life that fell through. We worked so hard back to get those back under contract. Just in the show I shared with you, one property in Knoxville took 4 sales. Nothing was wrong with the property. It's a long story. We won't get into it. But every story, every property has that. And so keep in mind, now you have to work more diligently as the market's changing. So we talked about some of the numbers. We talked about some of the stats. We won't get into that. Talk about our market is not the same as we're seeing across the U.S., so don't compare those. We're in a great spot. We're talking about some inventory. I think buyers now more than we've ever seen. We're in an opportunity zone. Growth has still slowed a little bit, but it's not stopped. The percent of growth in active listing year over year is 2.5%. So in the market, every single one of these bars show that there's a period of growth. So you can't see the chart here, but ours is 2.5%, 2026. Inventory is the best we've seen since 2019. So buyers have more selections. Buyers have more opportunities. And you know what? How hard was that as a buyer going into the market? I've got to waive my inspection. I've got to put a $20,000 escrow. And pretty much, if I'm not cash or, low LTV, I'm not going to get the property I want. And then don't even talk about selling your house. I've got to qualify with that house, or I got to keep it to buy this one. Frustrating. Look at it, think about it. We didn't even have an opportunity in the market to think about it. It's very normal when rates rise, inventory rises. When rates fall, inventory falls. So it's very common. Don't think that that's not the case. Our inventory, we talked about it, 4 months of inventory, healthy market, but interest rates are what we're looking for, but at the same time, some of the new construction growth has slowed. And just because the builder has the incentives and the closing costs and all that tied into it, make sure what you're getting is making sense. We've got a couple that we past client worked with. They're selling their home, purchasing one, and it has to make sense. We want to make sure that if we're doing it, that we compare all of our options out there. And I think that's a great opportunity to think about comparing your options in the housing market now, and it's an opportunity to buy. We know the rates are going to change to some degree, but remember, we've been blessed with the opportunity of rates really, really low. We probably won't see 3%, 4% for a while, maybe never. So that 6% to 7% is normal. So there's always times to refinance, to change. But now as a buyer, have an opportunity to actually get to look at property. There is more selections. You guys remember in COVID, or maybe not, just a couple of years ago, you go to the car lots and inventory, you couldn't even find a car. Trucks, certain trucks we were looking for. There was a truck that we wanted, we couldn't get. But now there was inventory. Now we have more selection, and the dealers have opportunities. The housing market's no different. We've got opportunities. There's more selection. Now the challenge is we've got a lot of people that are coming out of state to relocate here, and so we have to put all that together. Hope you've enjoyed the show. If I can help you anyway, please reach out. We'd love to help you. I got a great, amazing team and love to help you with any real estate needs. Y'all have an amazing weekend. See you back next weekend.